Welcome back to the show. What a beautiful night in Melbourne, and thank you very much for watching and coming up in the street and being so cheerful about life. You know, as a criminal defence lawyer, I go through the courts every single day and everyone seems so down and depressed, and I mean, we're all dealing with serious issues, but we could still smile and enjoy the day. No use being depressed every day just because we're doing serious jobs. Otherwise, life is so boring. Is that this man on the couch, Barry Dickens, what a lovely man. So real, so authentic. We're here to ask him questions, but he's asking Alita questions, and you're so friendly, aren't you? You're such a decent, authentic
well, as I said before, Michael, I love people. They're my topic.
And we love you.
Oh, I feel the same way.
And you know, what's your advice? There's so many depressed young people because it's so hard now to get into uni and get into the jobs they want, and a lot of them are getting into the grog and the drugs and getting suicidal. What's your advice just to maybe snap out of that a bit? Well,
one of my best friends is a Catholic school teacher. She's the principal of one of Melbourne's best schools. That's Jenna Zano. And she said to me once, and she had reason not to be happy, there'd been so much trouble, not in her school, but around her life. And she said to me, always remember, you've got the option to be happy.
You've got the option to be happy.
And it's such a simple thing to think
simple,
and to say.
Yeah.
But if you believe that, if you can make yourself believe that it's true, then it is true, you know.
That's one thing that you are fully in control of, isn't it?
You've got that option, and she just said it. Her name's Patricia Cowling, and she's one of my best friends.
Isn't that beautiful?
Now, mostly poets aren't the friend of Catholic school principals, but we happen to be friends, and we've got a passion for the poetry of Sylvia Plath.
Yes.
And she loves Sylvia too. So today, when I went to see her, because she wants me to teach poetry there again at some stage this year, she started to recite from Sylvia Plath. So she's an unconventional school principal, but she's the one who said you've got the option to be happy.
And that's so true, viewers, isn't it? You've got the option to be happy. We all go through some tough issues, whether it's financial, you might be broke, not be able to pay the bills, you might be going through a separation, you might be having problems at work, but try not to live in your thoughts every day and affect other people with your negative attitude. Just put that aside like a little disk on a hard drive and just try to be optimistic and a bit more selfless and find out about other people, greet other people. Buddhism is a beautiful thing, isn't it,
That's
Barry?
right.
Buddhism's beautiful. I just read a book called, and you bought it for me, Alita, Buddhism for Busy People. And, I mean, I've read a lot of books on Buddhism, but there's some amazing principles that come out of Buddhism, isn't there?
I said to my son one day, Louis, his name is, we're opposite casualty at St Vincent's Private Hospital, and I was watching an old guy trying to get onto the West Preston tram. This is a couple of years ago, and it was raining. Louis was then about 10 or something. And he said, what are you looking at, Daddy? What's so interesting over there? And I said, can you see that guy? He's just come out of casualty. He's finding it really hard to get his boots onto the running board and haul himself. He's a big, heavy guy. Yeah, but why are you thinking about that? I said, because it could be me, Louis. Look at his feet. Look how hard it is for him to get on that running board. Oh, yeah, that's what you... And he said, that's the sort of thing you write about, isn't it? That's the sort of thing you write. Someone trying to get onto the tram doesn't have to be prosaic. It could be a dramatic thing to write. So.
You're watching all the time, you're seeing different people going through different experiences.
Well, I was trying to show pity, trying to show but not in a pompous way. Not patronising myself, I'd never do that.
No,
but trying to show him in the visual how hard it is for someone to do a simple task like hop onto a tram.
Because it is a fine line between actually, actually showing sympathy, but some people in this world are just totally ignored. Like completely, do you know what I mean? Just like they're hidden from society.
That's
and people
right.
just don't even look at them or whatever. It's
so beautiful to breathe and to be animate and to be alive. But, you know, I mean, that's the thing that turns me on.
You're so right, and viewers, you know, you get these people trying to cross the street and they're a bit slower. Don't honk your horn, and people trying to get in, you know. Every day I stop at St Kilda, the service station there, and I try to get into the laneway there, and people just don't want to let people in, do they? It's quite amazing. There's not that many friendly people around in the morning.
Yeah, I know. I'm in the fast lane myself trying to get my son to school when he stays at my place.
You see the road rage and just the...
Someone hit my windscreen the other day in a Hoddle Street with a leg of lamb. And that's a first.
That's a poem in itself.
I thought it was a guy's leg, that he'd hit his leg.
We live in Brighton. I get smacked by cyclists all the time, and I don't even do anything. Sometimes I go too fast, sometimes too slow.
They should carry a leg of ham,
I
shouldn't
get
they?
slapped all the time.
Well, they look like two legs of lamb, the way they ride them.
I mean, I appreciate all the cyclists, but we've got to stop beating those cars.
Isn't it interesting with Barry, like how passionate he is and pouring all into all his writing and to write a poem, like you know how hard it was to write your 2 books, but to get there and write poems and plays and all that, it's just.
Well, it's really coming from children, and you know, I'm so glad I got the diploma of education so long ago, and all the the love of listening to children. If you listen to them, then you're in. You know, they suss you out in a second. If you go into a room full of wound up, bright little kids of 5 or 6. There was a Catholic school that I taught at last year, and there was a girl 3.5 years old that I was teaching, a pre-prep, and I said to her, "What are you up to?" And she said, "Well, at 3.5, I'm not up to much."
Haven't been around that long.
Then I went off and wrote that down somewhere, and she came over to my locker and she said, "Now what are you doing?" I said, "I'm writing down that thought of yours." She said, "Wasn't that good?"
That's funny again.
Yeah. You know, it's completely spontaneous.
We can learn so much from children, can't we? But quite often we, parents...
I don't go in really to teach them. Really, it's in order to listen to them.
Isn't that amazing?
And once they know you're listening, then the lesson takes off then. You're not just kidding, you're really listening. It's often their parents haven't got time to listen to them.
You're really listening. That's intense listening. That's so true. It's completely different.
It's
to
ecstasy to be listened to.
It is. It's an aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like if there was a book that said on the cover, men would get women. There's one tip: open it up, listen. Yeah. It would work. Wouldn't
Although I never listen to the police. That's a fault of mine.
Well, tell us about that story where those 2 coppers
pulled me over,
smoking dope, had you detained all day in the
That
police
was St
station.
Kilda West Police Station in 1974.
But you were trying to report a crime, weren't you?
I had my Morris Minor stolen. I loved that car. Green and white, I painted it. Went to Darwin in it. Beautiful car. A lot of hippies and I went to Darwin in that car. Someone pinched it. I was most put out. And I went down to St Kilda West, which is near where I lived in Inkerman Street, and reported it stolen. They took me into the muster room, ostensibly to fill in some paperwork. And then, because they were both stoned, they started to talk crazy with me, or to me, or at me. And one of them said, "Why didn't you live in 15th century Frankston?" And the answer to that is that there wasn't Frankston in the 15th century.
Did you ask to go home?
No, I didn't know what they were doing.
Did you say, I'm going now?
No, I didn't. They kept circling me. I was sitting in a chair, just talking crazy for hours.
How did you know they were on pod? Just by the behaviour?
Well, they're on something.
Something,
I'm not an expert.
No, but they're on something. So, yeah, it's crazy behaviour.
Yeah, maybe they were frustrated comedy writers.
And viewers, this sounds like a strange story, but I spent 10 years on the force, and you saw so much, and some coppers with crap personalities did these sort of things. You just wanted to mess with people's minds and pull them in off the street, play with their minds, and then you drive them somewhere and send them off. And some coppers even said, "If you report us, we'll shoot you."
One of them dressed up as a woman.
A woman?
Yeah, he came in as a woman.
What, during that period?
Yeah. No, during the interview.
During the interview?
Yeah, he came in as a woman.
We'll talk about that woman.
I told him I was married.
After the next break. We'll be back very shortly with Barry Dickens and his amazing life. Don't go away.